Hi there folks, we're back with another video. Life's been getting in the way somewhat for us of late, but we've managed to get together again. We're going to have a quick look back at the ones to watch from the weekend. And we've also got obviously the big race at Ascot, Altior and Cyrname, and Haydock coming up as well, so we don't want to overshadow that as well, so we'll give that a mention as well. So let's kick off with the ones to watch. Sean, Time Mill, done very well, started it off.
I think going into the day when we were looking on Twitter and things like that, that was one of those that everyone assumed was going to be the banker of that day.
Yeah.
Didn't disappoint.
No.
Really, he doesn't seem the most fluent of horses at times, but when the race is on, the last two fences, puts in some great leaps, and he's got a turn of foot, especially in the mud. Like I said when it was the ones to watch, it's going to be this sort of period you'll probably see him more. What the horse is capable of in good ground and what we're unsure of at the moment, but in this sort of soft, heavy, almost like underwater, sort of ground, he just seems to relish it, and it just.
He's still novice. He's still novice.
Yeah.
But, when you're novice, if you've got Richard Johnson on your back, you're still probably going to win. So,
exactly. You know, I mean, you've got to forgive a few, haven't you? In the early days, certainly. You know.
But he still seems to see out a job.
Very well.
Yeah,
no, he was very impressive when he done the job very well.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll quickly move on into the second one. Bit of a disappointment because obviously you like and I like as well. Classical Dream didn't quite go for him, did it?
Didn't seem to do a lot wrong. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it does seem like he was just beaten by the better horse on the day. Again,
two better horses.
Or two better horses. Yeah,
I mean, be telling me Petit Mouchoir's better than Classical Dream. I think we just forgive the run, shall we?
I think that's the best way of
proper on his toes when he before. You see it, like he was right on his toes before.
Yeah,
he's only a couple of legs down when you think of it, but as I say, Petit Mouchoir shouldn't be beating it.
No. I mean, like I say, didn't do a lot wrong. It just seemed to not want to know the last fence, as in like to put the race to bed. And it was Sadler, wasn't it? Then came alongside him and just went off, and then Petit Mouchoir come on the inside. You know, yes, it's difficult to ignore that, but can you allow first race blown off the cobwebs?
Yeah,
I still think he's a phenomenal horse, and I still do think that champion hurdle, he'll very much be in the mix. Anyway,
I'm sure turn it around.
It was disappointing.
If anything, it's not going to do any harm, is it? It's going to open up the champion hurdle betting. So we'll
absolutely,
100%.
I
think we'll forgive the first round.
Absolutely.
Mullins is a shrewd man, so I don't think.
How shrewd?
Well, we'll see.
Was this intentional? I didn't say that.
We'll see. We'll see. So then, basically, the other ones to watch that was running was Mia Grace for me. Like still very green. She travelled really well, but just still a bit green over the timber. You know, all things you can work on. You're only a length and a half behind the leader, I think, or second. You know what I mean. It still showed enough there to make me believe there's more to come and can get better. Not electric, not the world's best field again, but like I say, she just dallied a bit, you know, hung a bit after the line, and I think she went sort of right a bit. I think you know, it might have been a little bit closer if she stayed straight, but I say not the best race in the world, but like I say again, just showed enough promise for me that still got some ability there. So. And that's a second, so that's not too bad. No. A first, a second, and a third. I know
been beat by an odds-on winner as well.
Absolutely.
Big Bad Bear on isn't it? Which, what a name for a horse.
Right, okay, we'll leave that there and we'll move on to obviously some of the stories from the weekend. One we've got down here is West Approach.
I loved that race.
It was a good race, wasn't it?
I
wasn't on West Approach sadly,
but do you know what? If anyone watched the ITV racing, if you didn't go and put everything you earn on that horse after listening to Ruby and AP just going at it beforehand, they knew that horse was winning. You know, they've got old mate Robbie Power that was sat on it as well. He knew that horse was winning. He knew he messed up a little bit last time, just went a bit too early. That horse was winning from next 2, 3 easily.
It's such a good horse. I mean, for it to have only like this first win in 16 attempts, I mean that's ridiculous. Because I reckon I've backed it at least 12 of those 16, and I was always going to back it again because it's a horse that has always it's mind blowing how it hasn't won before.
It's not. I think Jess is back.
It's not
just know he's got off it last time and said, right, I know what I've done wrong now.
And we reevaluate this time.
Because it's such a good jumper of a horse. Like it can ping a fence quite well, and then it will come to the last two, and he's double out.
Just bottoms out.
And then all of a sudden, there's nothing. He doesn't want. So you just thought, surely But like you say, this race watching.
He just said you can't be in front at the last, because you'll get picked back. So as long as you're second, even third, if you're 3 lengths down, this is what AP was saying. If you're 3 lengths down going over the last, don't panic. Yeah. Because there's enough of a run in, that horse just doesn't like being in front. No. And it won it, just all going away so comfortable. I just thought it was so tactically perfect.
I think Jess even commented actually when he said that. He went, he wants to be 3 lengths behind. He's like, but that's what I said, these jockeys, that's what they're paid to. They're paid to know these horses, and they're paid to know that.
That's 2 of the best. Yeah. Talking about one of the current best.
Yeah.
No,
they were banging form, weren't they? The weekend. Okay, well, we'll also give a quick mention to Kerry Lee's Happy Diva in the Betfair Gold Cup. Been a little while since they've sort of tasted a bit of success, so it's good for them, wasn't it? That was
I feel that race would have been different if Slate House didn't stumble coming over, because as much as those didn't really jump soundly, turning for home, he looked tanky. Like, I mean, the horse all of a sudden just...
Oh, he was travelling when he went
back
down.
On the bridle with power again, and he just it got over, and I don't know if he's lost the footing or just got it.
Well, it was
landed, and then all of a sudden
just thought in sockets.
And then sort of went,
I'm knackered. Just
had a look up, saw the hill, went.
It was always as if like the horse was landing, and thought, you're really heavy, actually.
It was a shame, but it was
a shame.
Like I say,
travelling at the time.
It was well battled by Happy Diva.
I think Slate House probably wins that, but
but Happy Diva very well done on that one.
Yeah,
it was good enough to cause Richard Patrick to swear on live telly, so that was, that was a moment on its own.
Yeah, good on him.
Tried to avoid it. Unlucky, mate.
Nothing worse when you try to stop yourself and you realise it's too late.
When you've already put out the F and the U, there's no going back after.
It just shows passion. It's good to see. Good to see that he's proper.
Not enough of it on the telly.
I'm not saying. Okay, all right. Well, obviously, 2 other very big stories from the weekend. Willie Mullins. Well, we had Douvan first, technically, didn't we, on the Thursday? And Douvan, I thought, done very well at Clonmel.
Yeah.
How good? How good?
So good. Again, wasn't the biggest of fields, but when you've got horses like Monolith, which is a grade 2 in itself, it's not a shabby horse.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the weakest
at all.
In the world by any means.
And to be fair, once Douvan got more in the rhythm with the jumping, they weren't catching. He was
not going away.
He was gone.
He's not even pushed.
No.
9.
I say, I made a note. I think he, made a couple of minor errors, which you kind of have to forgive first time out on that.
How many days?
569.
Yeah.
And he comes back and wins like that.
But it was good for the sport. I reckon. I don't know anyone who wasn't pleased to see that.
Changes things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Opens up the options.
Absolutely.
So
it was good. Well, obviously, then we also had on the back of that as well. We had the machine was back.
Where did that come from?
I think we'll all admit it was a great sit by Townend over the water jump.
Yeah.
And then there was a slight mistake at the next, but showed some of that old spirit and that old nous and dug in.
What finished behind probably wasn't the strongest field for Hings ever going to run in when you consider this is a horse that has been winning Grade 1 champion hurdles at Cheltenham at almost record-breaking pace. It's irrelevant, and you can almost forgive that water jump because I think I can't remember who it was. Someone was just mentioning that a lot of the trainers, as much as they have these chase hurdles at their yard, very few of them have water jumps. So, that's the only time they jump that fence. So has for him just taken a second look like,
good blind.
What's that? Yeah, as opposed to take that aside, yes, still made another blunder the next one along, but his rhythm's out, so that take a while. And then once the rhythm was back, coming over the last, that was the feeling of
I was fully expecting 2 out, literally, when he blundered that fence.
To blow out.
Right, okay, now he's going to have to get to work here, and then he's going to start dropping back. He didn't.
Yeah.
He literally just...
He showed some of that old sort of, that old never say die type spirit, didn't he?
Little slap and then straight back on the bridle, and he thought he was catching,
Yeah, and I think that's, like I say, the main difference is, like I said, there were several that went, here we go, he's going to fade here.
Sometimes, do you know what, you see horses of a lifetime, and say over the last sort of 4 or 5 days, we've seen a couple of them. We're lucky, we're just lucky.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think it was Ruby had said, it's the old adage, isn't it, class is permanent, form is temporary.
Where he'll go, I think, is a bit of a minefield, because obviously he's going to be 12 soon.
It was one race and it's still early doors.
Take it from there. Yeah, it was just good to see him back though.
Exactly, that's what you've got to take from him. You just got to say, great to see him back. Really. Obviously, we can't let the weekend pass without mention for Deffy as well. Deffy just saw that was fairly decent field, wasn't it? So
that was a sort of race,
very decent.
Yeah, it was a sort of race you'd want to see at the festival as well. You know, when they're coming up to the last and you've got 4 of them in a line.
Yeah.
And at that point, Deffy was what, 4th?
Yeah.
I
would love to see Log again after he's had a run, just to sort of see what would have happened there. But turn a foot on Deffy de Sort. That's what we said yesterday. When we think when we now know obviously Tingle Creek could be the aim. That long running,
perfect for him.
He'll be gone. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I genuinely think he'll be gone. As I say, I think Log definitely needed the run. I think he ran superb. I think he jumped better than most of them, to be fair.
He really disappoints, I think, Log. You know what I mean? Like I say, he's one of the only few to even put anything up to that hill. Okay, he hadn't won, but...
Well, yeah, so we don't want to come back down. Log's run his last, I think, 3 or 4 minimum.
Yeah.
Second in that race behind Deffy, who's already had the run. I think he's done well.
Yeah.
Deffy de Sort going to Tingle Creek. I think that track's just going to suit him down to the ground.
Yeah. Like I said, obviously Sydney Ned in there is...
Yeah,
he's been running since the mid-50s. So,
like it,
so he done well.
But
yeah, no, it was a good race.
Fair enough. I've just put a little note down here, quick mention for Put the Kettle On in that race there. You know, I mean, the rank outsider, of the others. And, I think it just goes to show that if you don't have to be the best horse, but if you jump well on the day, certainly not best horse on the ratings by any means.
No.
And sort of make the rest of them look a little silly, I think, really. And fair play to him, obviously a great training, sort of training effort there by the team and everybody to get the horse ready and that. And looked to be loving it that day. And congratulations to them on the win, really.
Yeah, no excuses anymore. Like I say, Getaway Trump. They said he needed the run. Well, he's had the run, and
faded quick,
nothing.
Way too quick for me.
I think massively hyped horse, and who knows, but. Our dancer didn't do too much wrong. Again, I just think tactically, I think the winner's got that spot.
Yeah, got it bang on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Okay. So that's pretty much what's happened. Obviously, we'll start with the big one, Ascot. Altior versus Cyrname. I know there's obviously others in the race, so we shouldn't be rude. You know what I mean? But
there isn't.
There isn't. You'd struggle to. Yeah, you could struggle to imagine that. Top notch and keep it all. Will do anything, you know what I mean? You should imagine it will be those two gunning it out.
Well, we were just talking about this, we were quite, not upset because it's happening, but it's a festival race, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's happening early, so in an ideal world, you'd want them to avoid each other and then clash in a... I mean, it's a big enough race, but I would have thought, these two would have... I mean, fair play to the owners and the trainers, obviously, put them up against each other.
Absolutely, but as you say, the season flies by as it is, so it's nice to spread out the competition, isn't it? As they alluded to on ITV Racing.
Well, it's like we were saying before, if we get what we expect, and that's Altior to win comfortably, that's nothing against Cyrname, and they've obviously got this horse prepped, or they wouldn't. No one puts their horses in the firing line of Altior unless they feel that
they might be right.
They may not be right,
or there's nowhere else to go.
Or there's nowhere else to go, or they've got this feeling of maybe just there's a chink in his armour that we can expose. So maybe that's the thinking. I don't believe that's the case.
It's unknown because he's not done 2 mile 5.
No, exactly.
No,
but avoid splitting that. If Altior does counter him, the King George is just going to be a bit of a...
This is what's upsetting, because at the minute you've got a bet in King George. If Altior bolts up in this, you haven't.
Yeah, exactly. It was just going to go well.
Because we get what we get every year, and it's going to be a 4.
And you've got to imagine as well, Mike Bite's not. But if Altior wins this, Mike Bite's not going to go King George. What's the point?
No.
You might as well put him somewhere.
If they see a demolition job, they're all going to avoid, and it's a shame because the King George on Boxing Day is a staple for everybody.
Yeah, it's a great race.
You could look at it 2 ways, because obviously, as I say, Paul Nicholls, he's put Cyrname out there. It's been well documented. Does he go left-handed, and etc. The feeling is that he doesn't. Can you enter him in the Melin Chase? Again, it's a left-handed. Plus, he's got Politolog for that. So does he really need to? So there is an element. Has he got anywhere else to go?
Yeah.
But not bad old challenge, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, certainly. It's a yardstick and a half to measure yourself by, isn't it? So
it's not a betting race, but it's one. You sit down and watch it, enjoy it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I think we're all in the Altior camp, aren't we?
We have been from day dot, haven't we?
Yeah.
To be fair.
Absolutely. Hence the scarves.
It's hard not to be on as well, isn't it?
So, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? As I say, it was different. It was different for me. As I say, we were going back to the festival, he bolted up in the Supreme. I think everyone and his grandma was on meeting. I think just for a chat, because we didn't know what Altior was. I think just to be controversial, I backed Altior, and ever since then.
Well, the first time I got to see him was against Dussault in the bog.
Yeah,
that was terrible conditions, and he was just awesome.
He ran on jelly. That horse is incredible.
Okay, well that really covers that. We can't really say too much more. Obviously, you might have the likes of Call Me Lord and Bronze Sea running there, and If the Cat Fits, Little Rockefeller, and that. So again,
a great card.
Yeah,
it's just that race is
that's centre stage.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But then, of course, as you say, you're running alongside or overshadowing somewhat is obviously the immense Haydock in the Betfair Chase, which obviously have your boy running.
Bristol De Mai. Here he goes.
Looks pretty good to me. You know what I mean? Again, not the biggest of fields as normal, really, but
at evens though, are you not concerned? I only say this because at the moment he's evens. Lost in translation, you can probably get 15, 13 to 8. Who put in one of the best rounds of jumping you will see. Is that not a concern?
For someone to return and jump that well?
That was a first out. We were just talking about first outings. Yeah. So, classical dream, first outing. You dismiss it, but regardless of how you look at it, it was a poor round. Well, it wasn't a poor round, it was a good round, but he didn't perform like he should. An 8 to 11 on favourite shouldn't come third in a 5-horse race against, like what you said, the sort of horses that were there. Bristol De Mai not having a run out, going in at evens, for me, I know, like, returning champ, give him the credit he deserves, you cannot argue that. But for me, Lost in Translation, puts in that sort of jumping again. One mistake from any of those horses, and he'll punish them. He'll gain 2 lengths.
If he can produce that, I'd agree with that, I wouldn't write
He's earned the right to be evens. So for the last 2 years, this has been his comeback run. Last year, he's won it by 4 lengths. The year before that, he won it by 57. That's not me messing up my numbers. It's 57 lengths.
And last year's race, what he beat behind was amazing.
He's beat everything that that's you would expect to go to a festival.
Absolutely. He did.
The year before that, he's done Q card by, and I think it was a T for 2. I mean, they weren't even on the next lap.
Different counting.
That's incredible. So he's earned the right. I think there's only 2 other horses, I won't attempt to try and name them, that have done 3 Betfair Chases. And he's gunning for it. I just, as I've said, and we've said this over the last couple of years, he's not a horse you back in the summer, but you back him on his first run, and if he does well on his first run, you back him on his second run, and then you leave him alone. But he still come third in a Gold Cup last year, and when you look at the horses that he's got behind him then as well, I think that includes Presenting Percy, who was the 5 to 2 favourite. Good luck to the old boy.
I think he.
I say old boy, he's 8. He's 8, and he's going for a 3rd Betfair Chase 3 in a row.
I still think he stands every chance.
Do you think he wins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not an old saying, but it's horses for courses. He just loves it around there.
Yeah.
He's got conditions to suit. Nigel said, I haven't spoken to Nigel. I'd like to, but I haven't spoken to Nigel on it. But everything he's saying, he's as prepared as he can be.
Yeah.
And he's almost nervous this year. Not the horse, obviously, Nigel, because he is going off. Out and out favourite, and it's big. It's a big occasion, but for me, he wins it. Yeah.
Oh, I hope he wins it just to be able to, like I say, go into the record books, But I do agree with what you're saying there, Sean. Lost in Translation was pretty much foot perfect that round. So if he shows up in that vein of form, then
he's got to transfer that in a race against better horses. I understand.
Yeah, of course he has.
But again, if he ups his game to the level of what he's racing against and puts in that sort of round of jumping, I can't see how. I can't see past.
I think there'll be the front 2. What order we'll debate.
We'll see,
you think for Nigel, he's double-handed. He's got Ballyoptic there if he wants to. Who's done nothing wrong in the last 2 runs. Frodon there as well for Bryony. Which I just think this race might be a bit too much and a bit too soon, but it's a good old card.
Fair enough. Right, well, obviously we didn't manage to get in Jamie's ones to watch on the last video, so we'll just quickly run through them now. There's, well, I'll give you exactly what Jamie's gone with. Jamie's, Paisley Park. He's just, happy to see him again. Believes he should, he'll have another season. Probably will improve again. Stay at division.
It's not great, is it?
It's not great, no. which is what Jamie alluded to in his notes there.
Sam Spinner going chasing as well.
I think Paisley Park will have another successful season. Can't see why the horse wouldn't. At this rate, at this stage of the season, you've seen nothing to suggest that will come close.
Everyone looks like they need their first run out.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Although his second choice is Thomas Darby, trained by Ollie Murphy, going over fences this year after a successful season over hurdles. He thinks he'll suit going up in distance.
I was just going to say, I think
champ on board as well.
Further, definitely.
He thinks, so interesting to see how he takes the fences. If he takes well, he says, could see him winning some big races and jumps well,
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens. I think did he have a run the other day?
No, he was entered.
Yeah,
he was entered.
Yeah. I'm not sure his name on the card somewhere.
Didn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course he did, and then his final choice is his own horse, Oleg.
He stayed loyal.
Goes novice chasing. He ain't a bad horse really. I think he's on to quite a good one there. Really.
Not done too much.
Yeah.
But bit quick last time out, so I mean, conditions this time of year probably going to be ideal. But he's going to stick with his own. You can't blame him for that. So fair play. He's quite optimistic about his chances with him.
I think they all are. Since he come away from the race, was it when it pulled up? Was it Ascot? Can't remember now. Where his last race, obviously got pulled. Came away from there unscathed from what
James
Graham was just a bit quick.
and so all's come away clear from there. So the horses.
They just said he was under the weather, really, didn't they? They just said a bit of box rest and he'll be all right again, sort of thing. So I think that was
coming away
pretty
from
much
that.
the only thing they could take from that, really. There wasn't really a lot wrong when the vets got to look at him. I think they just said that he was I think he had a bleed, didn't he? And I think they just said he just seems to be a bit under the weather, and they sort of just thought, well, a bit of rest, put him away for a little while, and
I think we all are at the minute.
Absolutely. I think we might see him in December.
I can't see why you not want to back that horse again. To be honest with you, as long as all's fine. So.
Another good one for MPR, and they've bought some decent ones of late.
They're doing all right.
Yeah, they're doing very well. So
make us some money.
Yeah.
Please.
Right, so that's it then, boys. Really.
Thank God for that, because for some reason she put the heating on and my back is on fire.
Plenty to look forward to. Obviously, a lot happened the other weekend.
A lot to come.
But a lot of exciting racing to come next weekend. So hopefully have a few winners.
Lovely.
Cheers.
See you later.